Good afternoon. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to start our Central Committee meeting for today, Thursday, 6th of November. I would like to extend cordial welcome to the members of the Central Committee, those in the public areas, and to the public following us via radio, Facebook, and other platforms. This meeting of the Central Committee is duly convened in accordance with Article 8 of the Rules of Order of the Island Council Committee Ordinance. Is that the agenda point? Okay, at this point, opportunities for announcements from members of the committee. Anyone has any announcements? No. Okay, we're now at agenda point number 3. We will be handling the setting of the agenda. The published agenda reads as follows: 1. Opening. 2. Setting of the agenda. 3. Ratification list of incoming documents. 4. Ratification list of decisions and commitments of October 2nd, 2025. Number 5. Island Ordinance, Subsidy Private Individuals, 2025. 6 is Announcement Executive Council, in accordance with Article 49. And following agenda point 6, there's a closed door session with agenda point 7, Ordinance Travel and Accommodation Expenses of Island Council Members, St. Eustatius 2025. Number 8, Rules of Order for the Meetings and Other Proceedings of the Island Council, St. Eustatius, and Closing. I understand there's a request from the Executive Council to add 2 agenda points. Before we go over to that, okay, I already read the agenda. Okay, so just one. Which one? That will be tourism. Okay. Yes. Okay, so then there will be 8. Tourism. Logo. Okay, I have it over here. Okay, so that is right. This is 8. Okay, hier. 8. Dit is 9. 10, 11. Yeah? Okay. All right, so and a 9. Okay, thank you. Sorry for that interruption. So we are going to add 1 agenda point in the closed door session. So the agenda will read as follows: opening, 1, 2 announcements, 3 setting of the agenda, 4 ratification list incoming documents, 5 ratification list decisions and commitments of October 2nd. Number 6, Island Ordinance Subsidy Private Individuals 2025. Number 7 will be announcements of the Executive Council in accordance with Article 49, and that will end the public session of the meeting. Then we go over to the closed door session, which will handle agenda points number 8, the tourism logo. Number 9, Ordinance Travel and Accommodation Expenses Island Council Members. And number 10, rules of order for the meeting and other proceedings of the Island Council 2025. And number 11 will thus be the closing. Okay, so can the members agree with the revised agenda as proposed? Any objections? No objections. So then we adopt the agenda as read. So we go on to agenda point number 4. Ratification of list incoming documents. In the documents you receive is the list of incoming documents for the Island Council. Are there any comments on the list of incoming documents as you received it? Nothing over here. All right, so no comments noted, so we ratify the list as presented. And then we go on to agenda point number 5, ratification of the list, decisions and commitments of our meeting of October 2nd, 2025. Are there any comments on the list of decisions and commitments of our October 2nd agenda meeting? Okay, get indication, no comments on the list of decisions, so we ratify that as presented. Agenda point number 6, Island Ordinance, Subsidy Private Individuals 2025. This agenda point relate to special subsidies. To gain further insight into this ordinance, I will ask the Executive Council to provide the committee with any updates or further clarification on this agenda point. Commissioner Merkman. Yeah. All right, we will hear from Commissioner Merkman on this agenda point.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Relating to this ordinance, you asked for an update relating to the ordinance, and I can give you an update relating to the ordinance as it was drafted by the legal team. And it relates to the motion of it relates to a motion of the Island Council where they were intended to subsidize the purchase of the Golden Rock homes. And basically the motions, the lawyers are saying, listen, you have to separate the both things, the sale and the subsidy ordinance. You cannot do them simultaneously. And conclusion, a council motion alone is insufficient. The grant subsidy criteria have to be embedded in the subsidy for ordering. A new ordinance must be adopted by the Island Council under Walbest Article 149, or policy decision must be made by the Executive Council within the current framework. Because the ordinance is a general regulation, it cannot single out just one batch of public houses. Eligibility must be drafted in neutral terms. Any resident who has rented a dwelling on the island for plus minus 12 months and buys it as primary residence, that satisfies the transparency and equality requirement implicit in the WALBES. So basically what they're saying is if you want to do something like that, it must be fair. And if you go and if you give subsidy to one, it must mean that anybody that is also doing the same thing technically can can request the same treatment. That's basically what it's saying, what the document is saying. And I will, what I'll do is, the document is a little longer than that. What I'll do is I will send this to the registrar's office. It has not been approved by the Executive Council as yet. So after Tuesday, I will send it to the Executive Council. It's because it analyzes the whole situation, and because it says the subsidy introduces a new financial commitment. Under the Article 9 of the FINBES, the Council must show necessity and proportionality to a public goal. Multi-year budget 2025, it's not part of that. Any structural grant must be anchored in or added to the island's general subsidy ordinance. A subsidy to an individual does not fall under this ordinance. Therefore, a separate policy decision or ordinance must be adopted. Such policy or ordinance must specify purpose, eligibility ceiling, the ceiling was $25,000, calculation method, conditions, and occupancy requirement, resale within X number of years, grants linked to length of tenancy must be applied uniformly to avoid discrimination issues. A public call, clear criteria, and publication of awards are recommended. The best option to stay within the legal framework is to sell the houses at the full appraisal value and give a post-purchase housing improvement subsidy that will separate the two transactions and will make it easier to justify as promoting quality updates rather than reducing price. So, as I indicated, I will forward this document to the Council as soon as it has been ratified by the Executive Council. And then everybody can scrutinize it, sit down, scrutinize it, and look at the document. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Merkman, for that information. So I understand that the Executive Council has not dealt with this yet, has not approved it yet. So my question to the committee members, do we have questions for the Commissioner now on this particular topic? I don't think it can go on to this Island Council at this point. So I understand that this came from the Presidium. It was discussed in the Presidium that it will be on the agenda of the Central Committee, but from what I'm hearing, it is not for final approval in the Council. So question to the committee members. Your position is, Councilman from Putton, you want to say something? Excuse me? Yes, you can comment now.
Chairman, members of the Domestic Committee, and those who are listening by the various social media platform. During a meeting of the Central Committee last week, Wednesday, I inquired as the faction lead of the PLP, the Presidium, yes, last week. I inquired about this ordinance, proposed ordinance, and I requested the governor, who was the chairman of that body, to ensure that it was ready to be on the agenda. I think it was during the course of yesterday my office informed that they had received a correspondence from the office of the greffier indicating that they had contact with the governor, and the governor indicated that they were still doing their round. The document was still making it round. So subsequently, it would not be ready. I hope the people of Statia are listening, because when I speak, people get upset. People make all kind of insinuation, but my back is broad, and I don't afraid anybody. But Mr. Chairman, I want to say for the listening ears of the people of this island that since the 28th of May, 2025, the Island Council passed a motion where we indicated as a majority, the PLP faction in the council, what our intentions were as far as the sale of the government low-income houses in Golden Rock is concerned. I am not going to go back into the long story of the sale of the government houses, because I think the community is fully aware as to the game that is being played. One thing I can assure the Golden Rock residents and the people of Statia, that one way or the other, that these houses will be sold, and they will be sold at the rates that people would be able to purchase these houses. I find it a burning shame that from the 28th of May to now, that those responsible for ensuring that this ordinance was put in place, that it is not the case. I guess if the instruction was given from Holland, civil servants in Holland, I guess it would have been the case already. Chairman, we were invited to a meeting, I think, a few days after this motion was presented. And there was a Dutch lady there, who I think was working at the time, because I understood in the meantime the lady has left. But the lady explained in details what was possible according to the Finfall Best and what was not possible. So I'm hearing from the side of the government that they're reading out and trying to give an explanation as to the interpretation of the law. But the lawyer were there, the members of the Island and Executive Council was there, the representatives from our secretariat was there, and I think they were very clear as to what is possible. But I have been around a long time enough, and I know the games are being played, but I could play the games better. I've been here the longest. I know the tricks, and I know the games that are being played. Again, I said before, and I want to repeat it now, when the houses was to go to Basal, Farmer Warning they were to go by the stroke of a pen, and there would not be in a discussion. But I had those of us who had the courage to keep our words, what we promised in the campaign, and what we told people we would do. And there are those of us who are committed to that. And that's why Basal did not get it by the stroke of a pen. But I realize all kind of stumbling blocks have been placed in the path for the sale of these houses. I'm even told in recent time, up to last week, I was approached by 3 persons who is said to be ready, subsidy or no subsidy, to buy their homes or the houses that they are living in. And they were told by the people over at the Housing Foundation that the government have stopped the sale indefinitely. Clyde inside. People who are living in the houses came and they conveyed this to me, very frustrated about the matter. Like I said, I am not going to let nothing frustrate me. But one thing I can assure the residents in Golden Rock, that the houses will be sold. We had a target date. It is clear the games are being played. But like I said, I know the game better. I've been here a long time. And I could play it very, very good when it is necessary. So I'm not going to say anything more on this matter. If the Executive Council choose to follow the requests by means of the motion that was passed on the 28th of May, 2025, yes or no, that's okay with me, because I recognize that civil servants and even junior civil servants in Holland seemingly have more power and more influence than the people, that the public who went and voted in the elections almost 3 years ago and put an island council in place. So I'm not going to get any sleepless night over this matter, but one thing I am sure about, that as long as I'm alive and as long as I'm sitting in this island council, that the people of Golden Rock could be assured, who are willing to buy, that one way or the other, you will get your houses. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Councilman Van Putten. Well, you're the first on the speakers list, so I guess that will constitute your first round presentation. All right, the other council members, this is Council Lady Mercedes Lopes-Panner. Have anything on? You yield your time. Thank you. Council Lady Raquel Spana-Carty.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, everyone. I would look to the Commissioner to see if, I don't know if the questions make sense because it is not quite ready as yet, but I will ask my questions so maybe you can take them along in the final draft. On page 1 of the ordinance, there is a reference to the budget. I was wondering which budget exactly and why the reference. It states gezien de begroting 2025. Also, the ordinance refers to Articles 9 and 10 of the FINBES, with Article 9 being the topic participation in private legal entity, and Article 10 refers to sale of assets. Could the Commissioner please explain the reason why these articles are mentioned here? What is the relation? And the next question is, if it's legally possible that a subsidy ordinance of the government could contradict another legal document, such as the FINBES, Article 10. Another question is if we have any kind of advice on the document, if advice was sought or you're still waiting on it because you're saying it's not ready. So he's wondering if maybe CFT or whoever was consulted. And if you have any kind of legal advice on the ordinance, if it could be shared with us as well. On page 2 of the ordinance, Article 3, subsection 2B, it states that the policy and execution rules cannot be in conflict with other laws. And which other laws are you referring to? Is it the WALBES and FINBES? Another question is, who will be able to make use of this subsidy? Because currently it's maybe the tenants of the Golden Rock houses, but we spoke before about maybe seeing that we don't have enough homes, if private homes too can be rented, making use of this subsidy. So could the ones that can benefit from this subsidy, if they could be identified? Also, which government office or department will be responsible for carrying out the ordinance? Who's going to oversee it? And page 2, Article 4, there's a summary, inhoud subsidieregeling. What type of subsidies is the government planning to introduce? Do they have to also pass through us as Island Council? And most importantly, do we have funds in the budget reserved for these things? And again, if there is any legal basis, any kind of research done to substantiate this, it would be appreciated if we could see it. And also maybe if, how do you say, best practices, if any other similar ordinance exists and has been in effect in other municipalities, if we can see, the study and why this would be feasible for us. That's it, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Council Lady Spannacarty. Councilman Simmons.
I yield my time.
Thank you, Councilman Simmons. All right, I don't have any questions at this point, so I will give the Commissioner again the word to respond to the questions posed.
Mr. Chairman, pertaining the questions from Council Lady Spanner, I would like to be able to get back to you in writing, but basically the questions that you are asking is relating to Article 9 and 10 of the FinBest, is that when you're selling anything, you have to sell it at market value. Anything we do, you have to sell it at market value. And I think the Executive Council have gone to great lengths to try to get a market value as low as possible. And that's the case at this time. And there's no malice on the part of the Executive Council to retard this process. We want the houses sold as well, because we were quite far in getting these houses sold. And when something is stopped to restart, it just takes time. And on the process for the sale of the Golden Rock houses is ongoing. It's as I indicated in the past, I have even put a petite committee in place with people that are solely, the sole focus is to sell the houses. And I think they had a meeting.
Council Lady Spannacarty.
Yeah.
Commissioner Merkman, am I understanding you correctly that we have spoken about this subject at length? Mm-hmm. We have heard that certain individuals in Golden Rock can purchase their home without any ordinance. Has the possibility been entertained to sell to those individuals and those that would need an ordinance to buy, not to delay the entire process, that who can buy now and the rest come after?
Yes.
So that we can all achieve what we want to achieve?
What you're saying is quite accurate. I have said that in the council already, that the council agreed with it, that who wants to buy, let them buy. And that's basically the standpoint that we are going out from, because there is something called the deed of arrest that comes in when you want to sell government property, that it must be available to other persons too. I can't just pick somebody arbitrarily and say, listen, I'm going to sell a house. But these people are living in those houses, and there's a LOE that from the minister that was agreed upon. So based on that, in some of the last discussions we had, it was made very clear, listen, the deed of arrest does not apply now. So sell the houses. That's basically what it boils down to. The people that have the money and wants to buy the houses, now if let's say the tenants that are living in the houses, they do not fall in the deed of arrest. So that was a big obstacle. So we had a meeting with all stakeholders involved with the notary, and because we got some information stating that the notary saying that before I can continue with this, I want the issue of the deed of arrest solved. So an advisor came in and looked at and called everybody together, met with the notary, and this was discussed, and that was wiped off the table. So now the deed of arrest does not apply. That happened like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. But we are speaking about tenants now. Just the tenants, the people that live in the house. We're not talking about other people that would come in after. We just want to get those people in a position that they can buy the houses. If a child wants to buy the house, or who doesn't live in the house, he wants to help his parents, if he's buying it in the parents' name, that's not an issue. But when it goes over to putting it in a child name, then that brings other stuff with it, other under the thing of the hook. So then that's where the deed of arrest possibly comes in. But again, there are ways that this advisor, when she came in, she proposed certain stuff, and in discussion with the notary, it was agreed that we're going to try to solve this as easy as possible, because there is a LOE that was signed by the minister to sell the houses to the tenants. So basically, and the Island Council. So the deed of arrest still plays a little bit when it goes beyond the tenants, but the tenants now has the viable option to purchase these homes. And as quickly as possible, we are trying to get out of that solved.
Please allow me another question. Commissioner Merkman, your final statement is my question and concern. We know that certain offers and certain documents have an expiration date. After a certain time, they are no longer valid and they need to be redone. What is our deadline for us to be able to sell as the last price? Remember, we spoke about documents expiring, etc. So then we would have to do everything over again. I would like to know, are we at the point that we can still use what we have and get them sold? And what would be our deadline?
Technically, when you have a appraisal, let's say, is valued for 6 months. That period has passed already. But we are now in the process. We have started the process with that price. So the notary is going, because of the agreements, they're going to use the same appraisal. I haven't heard where there's any indication that the appraisal value is going to change. That is not the case. Because we met a deadline we met a deadline. The deadline was, I think, was the 29th of June or something like that. And one of the reasons why we brought it back, as soon as the council came back, I think we had 45 days. If we had gone beyond that, then it would have been an issue. But we met that. So now, once we start the process, it still is valued or respected by the legal entities involved. I haven't heard the notary mention that is going to be an issue that is going to be plain. It has not been brought up. I hope. Okay. The other questions I will respond in writing. And because some of them really, I think I will leave the lawyer put something documented on paper for those reactions. And the memo that I read from was actually from a lawyer, from a legal person, and that I will forward to.
Commissioner Merkman, any time frame when you're going to send those answers to the council?
Technically, once it comes to the BC and the BC approves it, then
The answers from Council Lady.
yeah, within the next 2 weeks. Within the next 2 weeks, because I'm going to get somebody to decipher the questions, and then I'll work on them and send them in writing. I'll send them via the Creefy's office so that all council members will get a copy.
All right, 2 weeks. I have a follow-up question. You say since you met with the notary, so the deed arrest is no longer an issue for those persons who are tenants and who are able to buy now. So when do you foresee that you will be able to start actual sale? The tenants can appear before the notary?
I can't give a deadline because it doesn't really depend on me. Because what happened is we have given the instruction to start already, even though we haven't sat with the people, with the individuals as yet. We know the people that have come, they want to buy. We have said, listen, let's get the lawyer to make a contract. So when the people come in, they can sign, and then the next step would be the notary. And technically, I've also Maduro Couriers Bank is also, I'm going to have a meeting with them so that try to facilitate that they already know about the sales of the Gold Rock houses, that when these people come in, that they would look at making a favorable arrangement for them, you know. Well, I can't say a favorable arrangement, but at least they know that the houses are to be sold by the government and that they are aware of that.
And also, if you've heard also about, folks are going to the Housing Foundation and they're being told that the government has put things on hold. I have heard that too from tenants, and I guess you've heard it too before. You know, did you have contact with the director of Housing Foundation as to why he's giving this information?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Chairman. I think the only answer I can give to that is that I know that when there was an impasse where it was on hold, but that's the only explanation I have, that where you can say the government put it on hold. That was when you all imposed a 45 days.
Yeah, but that is long past.
Yes, but that's the only explanation that I know of.
To the Housing Foundation in the past week.
No, well,
they're being
no.
told that.
No, well, then I do not ascribe to that, because we have not put the houses on hold, and we are talking about months ago. That's before July. So I cannot say how the director said that. I wasn't there.
Well,
But we are not,
either,
we as a government, both executive and island council, does not have any hold to selling the houses. The houses is in the process of being sold by the petite committee that is really working to get these houses sold. So if somebody is telling the tenants of Golden Rock that it's on hold, I have no knowledge of that. I have no knowledge, and I do not ascribe to that. I can't say it's not true, but that he said that somebody is saying that, but the government does not have no stop to selling the homes. I want to be very clear about that.
So my question was again, have you had contact with the director about this recently, or do you plan to have contact with the director on this?
Again, I indicated that there was the director is part of the petite committee. The petite committee consists of the director, a representative from PPMO, somebody directly affiliated with my office, and the consultant. And that petite committee is Balas, is responsible for moving the sale of the Golden Rock houses forward as quickly as possible. I hope that answers your question, because the director is part of the committee for the sale of the Golden Rock homes.
Well, you didn't answer my question, but I'll leave it there.
No,
I
the director was in the meeting, the last meeting that was held about for the sale of the Golden Rock houses. And you are saying that people told you that somebody is saying that, and I don't have any issues with back checking that, but and if that's the case, if somebody is working against the sale of the Golden Rock houses, then I don't, in my humble opinion, they don't belong in the process.
My question was, are you going to do something about it? That's it. And you don't have an answer for me right now, so we will close it there.
I just said I'm going to back check.
Okay.
I just indicated I'm going to back check, and if somebody in my office is against the sale of the Golden Rock houses, then they will be removed from the petite committee. I think I can be much clearer than that.
Anyway, okay, so that concludes the first round deliberation. Anyone else have need for a further discussion on this? No. And over here? No. Okay, so again, this agenda point, we cannot send it further to the Island Council for discussion because it's not ready for decision making. So we will end this agenda point here. Okay, all right, so that concludes the public session of this meeting. We reach agenda point number 7. So it's before we go over to a closed door session. So opportunity now for members of the Executive Council, if you have any announcements.
Announcements, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so let us see. I would like to thank everyone for their participation in today's public meeting, and also the technical team for their assistance. The public part of this Central Committee meeting has now come to a close, and the Council Committee will now proceed to the closed door session. Please be informed for the general public that we will not be returning to the airwaves with live broadcasts after this. So thank you for joining us. And so we close the public session of this meeting of the Central Committee for today, November 6th.